Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. Got a fun one today. We have a poll that I put out for Quick Slants. It's got people riled up. A lot of Tom Curran slander. It would probably be the appropriate term. We also have Austin Hooper, irrelevant questions. But before all that, Phil, the roster is basically set. It's kind of rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. I don't know if it's a Titanic or not. That has yet to be established, but they're just rearranging the bottom portion of the roster. So I don't want to spend a whole hell of a lot of time on Tommy DeVito here, but what I did find interesting was earlier this week when Mike Vrabel was asked on WEEI about making big deals or any deals at all, what his disposition was. Here's Mike from the Greg Hill Show.
Well, I mean, I think that when you talk about player acquisition, I think it depends. That's a hard question to answer without talking about who that player is. And I think that we have to go to great lengths to improve this team. And those are different options. And if that's through the draft or trading somebody or trading for a player, I'm certainly not going to speak for anybody or Elliott or anybody else. But we will have to we'll have to make sure that we invest a lot of time into what those decisions are, look at them, and then say, is this what's best for the team? And then if it's not, then don't do it. But if it is, then we would have to consider it.
So, Phil, as I said, the roster is what it is. But when Vrabel says, I think that we have to go to great lengths to improve this team, what does that tell you about where he thinks the Patriots are and what they might be willing to do?
I think we're in the manage expectations portion of the program for the new Mike Vrabel regime. I just think that's what every new regime really wants to do. That's new head coach 101 is, talk about your team in a way that shows respect for the team and still tries to establish a tone and a path while also acknowledging both to your fans and your owner, more importantly, that this is going to take a while. I'm going to need some time. We all are going to need some time to look at what you left us with. Okay, so we're gonna get these guys thinking the right way and playing and acting the right way on and off the field. But yeah, we got a long way to go here. That's how every new coach approaches things, and I don't think Vrabel's any different.
Which actually brings me back to that long-form interview he did with the fella from The Athletic that talked about the three things that Vrabel was looking for, and one of them was a quarterback that was a franchise quarterback or a path to develop one. I don't know what the other one, but the third one was to hear what the owner's expectations are and whether those aligned, the expectations and reality. So it's interesting that you bring that up because I wasn't really even thinking that the great lengths. I was more on are they going to try and swing a deal? But you're exactly right. He's saying that to improve the roster, to get it where we want to be. I mean, it's really kind of a loaded quote. I think that we have to go to great lengths to improve this team, as opposed to I think we have gone to great lengths, or we'd have some work still to do. And I don't want to parse. First thing in the morning, he's got 37 things. I don't want to act like he spent all day trying to articulate exactly what he is, but he's a smart guy. I don't think that he says things by happenstance either. But that is really interesting. Just before cut down, because this was a Monday interview, Tuesday was going to be the day. I wonder if they sat there in some of the meetings over the last week or so, really looking at the depth chart and who they had and said, my God, a lot of these guys we would rather probably replace right now, but we can't.
Yeah, I think that especially when you see, the initial construction of the roster, it's pretty clear it's a thin group. I mean, you've got 8 receivers in part because you're really light at tight end, which is a position you've pointed out multiple times. Or, to me, linebacker, true off-ball linebacker is pretty thin. So, and they also have, I don't know how many guys, Tom, we could probably sit here and go through them if you really wanted to, but how many guys could they have released that ended up on their 53-man roster that weren't going to get claimed on
Mhm.
other teams' 53-man rosters. It's just that there was a good number I felt this year. So he knows that. He has to be looking at that, especially at the, the critical positions. They've improved. They've certainly improved at tackle. They've improved at receiver. But they're still an injury away, probably one, from being in really dire straits.
I'm going to veer for a quick second. We did an early edition, a percentage improvement, and I kind of went at on the offensive line. I said that the offensive line has improved by 70%. And here's why. They didn't have a left tackle, so you're at zero. They add one who's a really good run blocker and should be at least a passable pass blocker in Will Campbell. At left guard, you had a revolving door. Now you'll have a project, so that's not a significant upgrade. At center, you basically had a guy who was signed off the street to play the position, Ben Brown, and God bless him, he did a nice job of it. I'm not talking about David Andrews because the upgrade is from the end of the year. So you have a starter in Garrett Bradbury. Mike Onwenu should be a better player this year because he'll be locked in at his position of expertise. And then Morgan Moses is on the other side. You didn't really have a right tackle last year. So percentage-wise, you got, of the five, between Moses and Campbell, you're already 40% better. And you can come up with the other 30 anywhere. Would you agree that they're 70% better on the offensive line?
I think you might be low. Now, I think we might be doing our percentages differently, but I look at this line and I feel like they have the potential to be, because they were so bad.
So bad.
Last year. They have the potential to be twice the unit they were.
100% better.
And that's 100% better. So like I might even go a little bit higher. It doesn't mean they're 100% solid, or they are 100% in terms of, if you had to, grade out all the offensive lines across the league, they get 100 and everybody else slots behind them. That's not it at all. But relative to last year and what they had, they are far superior. And I think they can get close to average. I really do believe that. I think by the end of the year, if they rank somewhere in the 20s, and I would call it the low 20s, late 20s, you're still near the bottom. If they're somewhere in the 20 to 24 range on the offensive line, that to me is probably about what you should be expecting, and that should be good enough for them to be, I think, in the playoff hunt really to the end of the year.
Give me your four measures. If you were doing a story and saying, here's where the offensive line has improved, give me your four stats that you would look at first to say, here's evidence.
Well, I would probably start with yards per carry, quite frankly, because they have not been able to run the football. Everybody focuses on the passing game, and I get it, but they haven't been able to run it, and I think they'll be better in that regard. I do like some of the advanced stuff. So, multiple outlets now do pass block win rate and even run block win rate. And so I would look at those, because those are designed to really assess offensive line specifically. Yards per carry, you can do one of those, you can have a trick play
You
on
can
a
have a
reverse.
47-yard Drake May run.
And that's not really indicative of how you're doing. But I would start there, and then I'd look at some of the more advanced stuff, run block and pass block win rate. And I do think we're going to. I mean, what do we use on our shows all the time when we're talking about offensive line and overall performance? Because it is hard. It's hard to assess. We go to Pro Football Focus, and I think those guys still do a good job. And I've talked to NFL offensive linemen who think they do a pretty good job in terms of, overall grade and assessing pressures. It's never perfect, but they do pretty damn well. And so I think I'll probably go to those grades too and take a look at that at the end of the year.
I would do sacks per pass attempt, pressures, 3rd and 1, goal to go. Some of those, and 3rd down, certainly, you can't be as bad as they were. I think they were 37% last year. So those, I think, are key ones too that are a little, and yards. Did I say yards before contact?
No, but I like that one, and that's readily accessible now too. That's a good one. I probably should have mentioned that. I do want to, not to get off on a total analytical side bent, but the sacks and the pressures, it does feel like, Tom, there's more and more evidence every year, and it's not like it's brand new, but it does feel like that stat is becoming as much, if not more so, a quarterback stat
Mm-hmm.
than it is a line stat. Because if the ball's not out in time, now you're inviting pressure, you're inviting that sack. And so it's not always, I don't know. How do you view that? Do you still
I
see
think
that
the
as offensive line
Patriots.
first?
I think the Patriots have been an outlier in that they haven't been following the trend because they've been so leaky that you can't put it on the quarterback holding it. I don't think that May was really guilty of holding it. Certainly, I don't think Jakobi did hold it a little bit last year. Jakobi Brissett. He was
May was
holding.
actually apparently among the best in football last year. I think he was top 10 in terms of sack avoidance. So plays where he probably should have been sacked and wasn't. And that's his physical skill set. That's part of the deal with him.
Yeah, but let's go to one other group before we get to the roster and this poll question I put up that's probably still just getting hammered to a pulp. I thought it was a good question. But we have the wide receiver group, I also said was a 70% improvement. And the reason is this: Stefon Diggs is better than KJ Osborne. I don't care if Stefon Diggs ACL bothers him until week 13. He's still going to be better than KJ Osborne. Tyquan Thornton isn't here. Kayshon Boutte's kind of in his place. Mac Hollins, they didn't have somebody like Mac Hollins, period, last year. Demario Douglas is going to be the hub of the offense in many ways. And he has an offensive coordinator who's going to be able to scheme things up. And that group is going to improve because the offensive line has improved by 70%. So they get trickle-down effect from another position group's improvement. So to me, a 70% improvement in the wide receiver room, even though you're still not going to find a lot of teams who are saying, boy, we need those Patriots wide receivers on our team. Is that still reasonable?
I think they are. I mean, you look at it and the additions they've made. I think Diggs is a good player, even though, I feel like people think I think he's not good anymore. I do. I think he's good. I think he'll be useful for them. I think Mac Hollins will be a good addition for them. I think Kayshon Boutte has improved where, his relevance in the offense will be increased. And I think just the way, I don't know if you give this credit to the receiver group itself and the additions they made to the roster, but I think the coaching they're going to get is going to get more out of them. And so we will look back on the season and say that receiver group was vastly superior to the one they had in 2024.
Yeah. I mean, they had a receiver room with, by the end of the year, Tyquan was gone, but it was Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, Demario Douglas. Bourne was still on the field at the end of the year, right?
Mm-hmm. Boutte.
And Boutte. So they certainly have matured, I think, or at least their work ethic is not going to be looked at as questionable, which it certainly was at times last year. It just goes back to exactly what Devin McCourty said to me when they moved on from Jakobi Meyers. Why would you move on from a guy in a wide receiver room that needs maturity and a technician, and you're going to move on from that guy when he's done everything right? And in the end, they did it for $1 million, as he explained to Felger and Maz, which, Phil, brings me to the next portion of the program. And that is, since Jakobi Meyers has asked for a trade in Oakland, Vegas, but they haven't given it to him yet, and they don't seem inclined to do so. But he wants more than his $10 million in the final year of his contract. You and I noodled the idea of trading for Jakobi Meyers and spit out the proposal of why not Steph Diggs and his incentive-laden contract. Send that out there in his 32-year-old body, which is still at its best, 40% better than the best of Jakobi Meyers, but we don't know if it's there anymore. And bring back the soon to be 29-year-old Jakobi Meyers, who generally doesn't get hurt, who's a good blocker, who's a sure-handed receiver, who's never really played with an elite quarterback. He had 2 years here with Mac, and then he went to Oakland.
He did have Brady in 19, but he was, he's a rookie.
Yeah,
now.
but I'm really operating off 2021 to 2024, where he has turned into an 80 catch a year guy. So I proposed, why don't you send Diggs out there for Meyers? And I'll tell you something, Phil. People on Twitter hated this idea because I put this up there on the a quick slants poll, and it actually has made a mild comeback. But here are your options. I mentioned this with Andrew Callahan the other day on his podcast too, and people were irate. So I said, Jakobi Meyers reportedly wants out of Vegas. Trade hypothetical. Stefon Diggs for Jakobi Meyers. Your three options, fans, were, are you insane? No. Second option, that makes some sense. Third option, do it. Do it now. Are you insane is the runaway leader right now at 74%. That makes some sense, is at 18%. And do it now is at 8.2%. Tom, love you, but all that sun from golf got you. No. Tell me your childhood had lead paint without telling me your childhood had lead paint, TC. I still don't understand how you got Stefon Diggs and Jakobi Meyers trade talks. You're getting senile. You got to be on drugs for thinking this. Usually you're a rational guy. Worst take you've ever had. Absolute moron for proposing it. I have zero. There's 18% of people never thought I'd see the day when Tom Curran turns into a hot take artist. And stay off the weed. Okay. So the point is made. Stop scrolling through the self-abuse. We don't need it. Bill, I guess we're both barking up the wrong tree as far as the fans are concerned. It's a great length.
Yeah, and that's fine. I get it. I get it from their perspective. I think, especially if you're thinking about it as a short-term proposition. You know, if you were to ask me who has the better chance to be a 1,200-yard receiver this year,
I like that. That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
I think I'd probably go Diggs. I don't think that's going to happen, but I also know Jakobi Meyers has never even done that. And so if Diggs somehow miraculously gets back to his pre-injury form, less than a year removed from his surgery, like, that's amazing. That's found money for the New England Patriots. But I just look at it, if you're acquiring Jakobi Meyers, you're probably giving him a contract. You're going to have him here for a little while. And I like the idea of having that sort of anchoring presence to your receiver room for multiple years, especially with a young quarterback. And I think he's the kind of receiver who's kind of a young quarterback's best friend. He's not a true number one, which Diggs obviously has been when he's at his best. But he is Mr. Dependable, Mr. Reliable, right place, right time, help you in the run game, knows the Josh McDaniels offense inside and out. Like, there's a lot of good with Jakobi Meyers. And so I would do that deal we're talking about. We talked about this on BST last night as well, and I said the same thing there. But if you're into it for the here and now, as a New England Patriots fan, I get that too, because there is that small percentage chance that Diggs is the old Diggs and tears it up.
If Diggs is the old Diggs and he does come out and has even go modest for he had 127 catches in 2020. He's had 103 2 years ago, I think, with Houston. But even if we go modest and say that he has a 90 catch season for 1,100 yards, does he go out, hit the market at 33 and become a 28 to $30 million receiver with inflation? Is he going to want to light out of here? And would the Patriots want to re-up with him?
I guess it would depend on how things go here in New England. I mean, he's everything I've heard is he's behind the scenes been the kind of guy they like and has met all expectations. And so if he becomes one of their leaders and he's a captain this year and he's really helping these young receivers along, maybe you'd want to bring him back. I don't think he'd be making that kind of money. McLaurin got less than that. McLaurin's 30, and he's coming off of, I think, an almost 1,100-yard season himself. So my guess is
29.
Yeah,
inflation's going to go up. So he's going to hit the market looking for 29. Maybe not. Maybe 27. Either way.
Yeah, maybe.
North of 25.
He'll be a couple years older, and he'll still have that significant knee injury in his history. He could ask for it. I don't know if I would give it to him. I still would be in the market for a long-term number one type of receiver and kind of rely on these guys like Booty and Douglas to be your 2s and 3s for the foreseeable future.
Which is why, again, it does make some future sense when you don't look at just the face of it. Jakobi Meyers at 20. You bring him in, you sign him at 29 to a 3-year deal at 20. And again, I don't think it's going to happen. It's just an interesting conversation when you look at the wide receiver room, because it's going to be turned inside out. We talked about this a lot earlier this offseason. who's going to be here in 3 years that the Patriots have right now? Where is their core? Who is their core? Is Mike Onwenu going to be here in 3 years? Is Hunter Henry? Is Ramondre Stevenson? Garrett Bradbury? Peppers? Barmore? Are all these guys going to be here in 3 years? Some will, some won't. 4.
Yep. 4 names: May, Gonzalez, Campbell, Henderson.
Everybody else is a temp, kind of.
3. If you're talking 3 years from now, yeah. I mean, that's sort of the way it goes, right? In the NFL.
And that's why I project that if Diggs is a temp, I would trade the upside of Diggs. I would bet on the upside of Diggs. And given that it's August 28th, it's probably a smart move for the Patriots to do so. They've, they're already, the horse is out of the barn. You're already down the road with Diggs. So play it out. But the chance exists, coming off an ACL, joining a new team and a new system, as quiet as he's been for long stretches in this offseason, in training camp, that he could be much closer to an average receiver than Stefon Diggs. And Jakobi Meyers still is a better than average receiver. And you could ensure yourself of having him for a couple of years. I'm trying to talk myself into it. I still feel that it's not an idiotic proposal. That's why I threw it out there.
I don't think so either. And I do like your point, and I wish I had made it on TV last night. Look at what Jakobi Meyers has been playing with a quarterback. It's just, no offense to any of those guys, but it's not elite level talent. And so it would be interesting now at this stage of his career. Like I said, the one elite guy he's had was Brady in 19. He's a long way removed from that. He's a far different player. He's a much savvier player. He's a much better player now than he was then. If you put him with a guy who is, and again, I don't know where Drake May's going to end up this year either, but he's obviously a talented guy. If you put him with somebody like that, what does it look like? I just said he's never hit 1,200 yards. I like Diggs' chances, as remote as they may be, of hitting that better than I like Myers. But I don't know.
Yeah.
If you compare him with a great quarterback, or a guy I think could be a great quarterback, maybe he gets there.
In order for this team to win 11 or 12 games this year, you need to have Stefon Diggs have a 1,200-yard season. What's the likelihood of an 11 or 12 win season? Less than 8%, less than 5%. So, but if you want this team to win 8 or 9 games, you would ensure yourself a little bit better if Jakobi Meyers was in the lineup right now than Stefon Diggs. Because I really do think Diggs could be a dice roll because of the injury. Not because of any off-field shit. It's been so put to bed, I think, that he's been a pain in the ass. The notion that he has, that I believe that he is a good soldier for them right now. So, but if they're going to be really good, you want to have Diggs. If they're going to be really consistent, you want Myers. But I don't know if you want to have consistent in this first year. This is a fascinating conversation because we're getting into expectations too, and it goes back to the Vrabel stuff,
Mm-hmm.
The Vrabel stuff about, what expectations do we have? We have to temper them. Expectations too, Phil. It's not too early to talk about the opener. 10 days from now, the Raiders come to town, and you're going to have concern when they take the field and Drake May comes out to a cascading ovation about which Drake May you're going to get at the start of the game, because he has acknowledged he does get a little bit jumpy. And I asked May on Monday what his strategies have been to try and address that. And also Mike Vrabel on Wednesday, I posed the same question to. Here's May from Monday, Vrabel from Wednesday.
I think just it's kind of like, back in the day playing basketball, kind of find a layup before you start shooting some threes. I think just whether it's a good run or, with the guys up front and the running backs, or maybe easy completion. But other than that, I think it's just getting out there, and I think that's part of it. I think it's whether it's going to be kind of the jitters or going to be fired up. That's more what it is, just to kind of calm that. And I think kind of use the guys around me as well. I think use the guys around me to kind of feel like, hey, if they're pumped up, I'm going to get a little pumped up. But, when I get out there, kind of be cool and calm and collected.
Drake was very open the other day and has been about saying, I got to settle down at the beginning of games. Sometimes I come a little amped up. And I asked him about strategies that he would have for early in the game. He said it's like basketball, you want to get away on. Do you help him with the strategies? Is that something you encounter, whether it's a linebacker or a quarterback?
Well, I mean, I think that you have to, again, you have to prepare. Each player prepares differently for that game and how you, what your emotion level is going into that game and how it starts. And, I think that there's always something to be said for, getting into a rhythm. I mean, we can't throw a bunch of 2-yard routes to start the game, but I think that it's just getting into a rhythm and a flow and, the warm-up, how guys warm up. Some guys go and warm up a few hours before the game, come back in, settle down. Some guys, kind of just roll on out there, but it's all about finding your own individual routine that will allow each and every one of them to perform at a high level when we start the game. We can't, wait to the second quarter to feel comfortable.
Where on the Drake May concern checklist does start of game jumpiness land for you? Or big moment jumpiness?
Boy, now we just covered the whole spectrum of plays in a football game, though. So
Well, it's the beginning and the ends.
beginning and the end. I mean,
He's fine for the other 45.
I think it's a concern. Yeah, sure. I think I would lump it into the taking care of the football concern, which I think is probably at the top of the list for everybody with him, because that's his style of play is to, I think he's got a little bit of hero ball in him, and that can be good and bad. And, I think that's what you deal with when you have guys who have that kind of skill set. And so the jumpiness specifically, you have done a great job of pointing out to me that this can be a hard thing to shake. I was somebody who assumed it would go away with age, with reps, with, going from 22 to 23 to whatever, 27. But if it never leaves them, that would be a significant concern of mine.
Yeah. All right. We'll monitor that. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest for you today. I jumped on the irrelevant questions train, and you're going to be treated now to the tight end, Austin Hooper. A lot of fun, really funny guy, smart guy, went to Stanford. He's from San Mateo. You're going to hear all about it. Phil and I will be back at you on Tuesday. Actually, I'm going to get Florio in for the pod on Tuesday. It's also going to be what we call a linear pod. It'll be on television. So that'll be a TV edition as well as this here audio and YouTube edition. So listen, have a great Labor Day weekend. Relax a little bit. Get out there in the sunshine. Cook up something or other. Phil, thanks for all your labor.
Right back at you, big fella.
Okay, we're out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Irrelevant Questions. We're back with it again. We have one of my favorites, Austin Hooper, tight end, New England Patriots. I'm not asking you to compare to last year or rewind it, but is this a place you're saying, I like coming to work right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime there's anything new, there's this, sense of newness, excitement, and then you see, half the locker room's new, so you're getting to also deal with new teammates, get to know them, get to play alongside them, get to play against them. So, I mean, definitely a lot of new, good energy for sure.
California guy, born in San Mateo. He went to De La Salle. That's Tom Brady and Julian Edelman country. Were you a Brady fan just because of the extension throughout the, just by extension?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I root for all the NorCal guys, Julian included. I mean, not a ton of, Bay Area is not exactly the hotbed, so everyone thinks like LA or San Diego. So, I mean, once you get a few guys from NorCal out, it's like, all right, like, let's see how you do. And ended up, you bet on that horse, man. That's a great horse to bet on, Tom Brady right there.
So it's the De La Salle Spartans?
That's right.
They were tough?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
4 years, 4 state championships. Come on.
That is tough. See, you got to brush up a little bit more when you come to Irrelevant Questions. We'll go easy now. How do you like your steak?
I like going medium. 'Cause Tom, I mean, medium for some chefs might mean medium rare, and medium for some might be medium well. So if you go in the middle, you leave it open to interpretation a little bit. Because I can do medium rare or medium well. Preferably medium rare. So I go medium and just be safe.
Ribeye?
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
Ribeye. Like a gentleman.
What's the hardest hit you've ever taken in your life?
Oh, my God. Okay. Jeez, I can't escape this game. So, Super Bowl 51.
Oh, I remember that game.
Yeah, me too. I was there. So I was off the ball, motioning across, and it was so loud, right? It's the beginning of the game. So I'm off the ball, and I'm looking back in to see if the ball was snapped, because you can't hear anything. If you're on the ball, you can key movement. If I'm off the ball, I look back in, realize snap, I turn around, I see Dante Hightower just put jumper cables on my chest. And that was like, I went through my rookie year pretty unscathed. I was like, what was your welcome to the NFL moment? I was like, man, I'm feeling good. And then Dante just priested me on his way to his MVP game. So shout out Dante.
He destroyed people in Super Bowls. You ever see what he did to Tyler Higbee in 2018? Just ragdolled the poor man.
Yeah, tough play for the tight ends right there.
Where else would you have considered going to college rather than Stanford? Or did you get into Stanford and said, I got to go there?
Well, I mean, I really didn't even get admitted until about a couple weeks until signing day. So I was just watching all my other opportunities kind of fade away, because originally I was going to play linebacker at Notre Dame, but Stanford's like, hey, take some AP classes, you sit down with the dean and he likes your transcripts, whatnot, we can see what we can do. So I kind of held out. Everywhere else filled up their class, and it was like, all right, man, Stanford and the Marine Corps, let's go. And luckily, it worked out.
You were thinking of the Marine Corps.
I mean, all the spots were filled. I might have tried to finesse a gray shirt from maybe Cal or something, but like, classes were filling up there, Tom. It was kind of put all my eggs in one basket. Luckily, it worked out for me.
Who was your favorite all-time teacher? Let's go elementary school. I got a soft
Miss
spot.
Berry. I still keep up with her to this day. She's no longer Miss Berry. She's Miss Elnor now, Mrs. Elnor now. But yeah, fantastic. Every time in the off season I'm back home, I always pop in, say what's up to her. I think she's still in third grade, something like that. She's
My wife's a third grade teacher.
There you go, all the great ones.
All the great ones. Best vacation spot that you have been to?
Fantastic question. Probably just because like my friends are down there so much. Harbor Island in the Bahamas, a small island off of North Eleuthera. Like a small 3-mile island. Buddy has a property out there, 70-foot fishing boat, so we make do.
There's no golf out there, is there? Too small.
Too small, no doubt. You're going to have to take a little ferry to North Eleuthera for that one, but, 10-minute boat ride, you'll be all right.
I'm going to circle back to 51 here. You were on the receiving end of 28-3. You had a touchdown in that game. Tremendous play by you. What were your emotions when the confetti was coming down?
I mean, first of all, was shocked, because I obviously just came from college football, right? So my young, dumb self was like, hey, we got to go out there, respond. And when the vets just slammed his helmet, he's like, bro, this ain't college, it's over. And immediately my smile just went to, oh my God. Like everyone else was racing in, I still said what's up to Cam Fleming, who's with you guys. So what's up to Stanford guys that were over there, Jordan Richards. So, said what's up to them, congratulated a couple of guys, and then went to a very somber locker room.
Was it quiet?
Yeah, it was a mix of quiet and anger, but you could feel it.
All right, this will be easier.
Yeah, let's pull the nose up a little bit.
First pet.
It was a dog named Princess, a mutt we found in a shopping center. My grandma and my mom found this little puppy like dodging cars in a strip mall. So they picked up the dog, brought her back, and my dad, classic father moves, like, no, we can't have it. And all of a sudden I named the dog, and then he's like, ah. And then in the end, like, him and the dog are best friends. So, that's how it always works.
Let's bring it back down. How'd that dog die? No, I'm kidding.
And we're back.
First car.
94 Jeep Grand Cherokee with 188,000 miles. Drove that thing until the serpentine belt blew off on my way to school one morning. So that's a fun way to exit quickly off of 680. So, yeah.
I don't even know if I have a serpentine belt. All right, this is the best part of the program. This is annually, I make a little noise. They say, hey, what's your number? Why do you wear the number you wear? And what would you prefer to wear if you weren't wearing the number you wear?
Oh, well, I wear 81 because that was the number I was drafted in. My college number was 18, so I just flipped it when I got to league. So if not, 81 would be 18. That was my high school and college number.
81's a classic number. Russ Francis wore the first 81 that I ever watched when the Patriots were here. He was an all-world tight end.
Fantastic.
That's Austin Hooper, and we had a good time.